Cockpit Briefing, Knowing Your Way Around the Instruments and Controls by Bill Stack. All those instruments and controls in an aircraft cockpit seem intimidating to the new pilot, but they have specific functions and are arranged logically. This video gives you a quick briefing of various cockpits in Microsoft Flight Simulator. This video focuses on aircraft with traditional mechanical instruments. Glass cockpits will be described in a video dedicated to such. This video also focuses on stock aircraft in Microsoft Flight Simulator because it is the most commonly used home flight simulation program. The descriptions can be applied to other aircraft and other simulation programs. The descriptions and explanations in this video apply to home flight simulation programs. This video is not intended for use in real-world aviation. Instruments are devices that give pilots needed information. Gauges are instruments that provide measurements such as speed and temperature. Controls are devices that enable pilots to do things with their aircraft. Modern cockpits are arranged in a logical layout. The main instrument panel contains the instruments and controls used most often during flight. Ancillary panels contain instruments and controls that are used less frequently. They are at the bottom of the main panel, on a center console between the left and right seats, in the ceiling above the windscreen. Some are even on the sidewalls. Not all of them work in home flight simulation programs, however. Main instrument panels on modern aircraft are arranged in a familiar layout. Flight and navigation instruments are in front of the pilot. Avionics are usually in the center. Aircraft and propulsion instruments can be anywhere on the main panel, but are usually grouped together. Flight instruments tell pilots about the three-dimensional status of their aircraft. The artificial horizon shows whether the aircraft is pitched up, down, left, or right, and by how much. It is most often in the top center. The airspeed indicator and altimeter are usually to the left and right of the artificial horizon. The turn coordinator helps pilots make coordinated turns. The heading indicator shows the direction the aircraft is headed. The vertical speed indicator shows how fast the aircraft is ascending or descending. These instruments are usually among the largest on the panel because they are used continuously during flight. Navigation instruments tell pilots about the current and future positions of their aircraft, where they are going, and how much time before reaching their next waypoint or destination. The heading indicator shows where the aircraft is pointing or going. The omni-bearing indicators, automatic direction finders, and distance measuring equipment enable pilots to determine their aircraft's position. The horizontal situation indicator on some aircraft shows heading, glide slope, and other information. The magnetic compass is often above the main panel to distance it from electronics that might interfere with it. Propulsion instruments tell pilots about the systems that propel their aircraft. Engine instruments show the engine's temperatures, internal pressures, and revolutions per minute. Fuel gauges show current fuel quantities and fuel flow rates. A variety of smaller, less used instruments can be found anywhere on the main or subordinate panels. An outside air temperature gauge helps pilots to calculate true airspeed and determine whether to use carburetor heat or de-icing devices. Clocks help pilots determine their estimated and actual flight times and to guide them through measured turns. Electrical instruments show status of electrical generating systems and current usage. Vacuum instruments show the status of the system that provides pressure for instruments such as altimeters and airspeed indicators. Some aircraft have radar altimeters that show measured distance between the aircraft and the ground directly below, which pilots use for landing in low visibility conditions. Some aircraft have annunciator panels that alert pilots to significant conditions during flight. Global Positioning System devices included with stock aircraft in Microsoft Flight Simulator are displayed in pop-up windows instead of mounted into the instrument panels. This statement excludes the glass cockpits, which are outside the scope of this video. Controls are all around the cockpit, on floors, walls, ceilings, and consoles. Yokes and pedals are the most prominent control devices because they are used constantly throughout flights, unless control is turned over to an autopilot. Autopilots are usually in the center of the main panel or center console where pilots can easily read and reach them. Sometimes they are with the avionics. Propulsion controls, the throttle, propeller pitch, fuel mixture, and fuel condition are in the center of the main panel or on a center console. They are on the ceiling in the Grumman Goose. Controls for landing gear, flaps, spoilers, and elevator and rudder trim are usually where pilots can easily reach them, in the center of the main panel or on a center console. Electrical controls can be anywhere in the cockpit because they are used infrequently. They are usually where the pilot can reach them easily, however. Sometimes they are at the bottom of the main panel, sometimes in a center console, and sometimes in the ceiling between the pilots. Some instruments combine two or more instruments into one. In the Beechcraft King Air 350, for example, the attitude indicator includes a turn coordinator, and the horizontal situation indicator provides heading, glide slope, and distance information. Although they can appear confusing at first glance, they are easy to use once you know what they are telling you. My flight sim videos and books cover many important topics. They are available from quality flight sim retailers, the Flight Sim Pilot Shop, the Flight Sim Store, Sim Market, Sim Planet, and Sim Shack.